Ready?
My name is Jacqueline Annette Mills Sue. I've been married 4 times, so I didn't know how many names to put in there. My story begins in Dayton, Ohio, in 1936.
Love is like a cigarette. You know you held my heart aglow between your fingertips.
I was born to Mary Ella Butler and Frank Lee Mills. My childhood was lived between 2 worlds, going to school in Detroit during the year and spending every summer on my grandfather's farm in North Middletown, Kentucky. One of the first trips I remember is when I was about 4 years old. My grandfather, on a segregated train, took me to Chicago. And then we went to Pittsburgh, and then we went to upstate New York. He was a patriot of our family, and he paid for my college education. I got my Associate of Arts degree in journalism. I wanted to be a journalist. I really wanted to be a journalist. And I was in Dayton, Ohio. I could not get a job. They wouldn't even let me sweep the floors or do anything for free. And I remember getting turned down by Redbook magazine at that time. That was in 1956.
You know I can be found sitting home all alone. If you can't come around.
I got married. I mean, what else did you do when you were a woman? And I married a man who happened to be my 3rd cousin. We're Kentucky. But it didn't work out. After I picked up and left that marriage with $81 in my pocket and landed in San Francisco, I got my first job within a week, and it was in a department store. And from there, I went to the telephone company. I was one of the first black long-distance operators.
This is long distance. May I help you?
But that was boring for me. From the telephone company, I went to the United States Post Office.
San Francisco.
That is where I met the love of my life. In between that, though, I had another love of my life. I met my oldest daughter, Ketta's father, who was in the Navy. We called him Duke. I had never seen a military person before in my life, and this tall, very dark, very handsome man, we were walking down the street, and I bumped into him, and that was that, and we got married. And he shipped out for 6 months on an aircraft carrier. That didn't work. Being in San Francisco all by yourself. So we lovingly decided not to stay married. Then I met the real love of my life, Candace's father. Frank Sue was an extraordinarily good-looking man. He was Hollywood, but he didn't have the Hollywood personality. He was very quiet, very unassuming. The one thing I did learn from Frank Sue is how to really live life and give and appreciate the other person. It was really magic. It was not because we were just Chinese and black, but I am black. That is to say, I am dark chocolate. People married and they are very close in complexion color, but it didn't matter to Frank. It didn't matter when we went to China. It didn't matter when we were in Nepal. It didn't matter if we were in the Deep South. It didn't matter any place. It's a different time today, but we're talking about early 60s. And from then on, that's 40 years of marriage. Looking back, I just happened to be very fortunate in the 60s. The post office was rapidly changing. When I came in, there were no women carriers. There were no women truck drivers. The highest woman position, at least in San Francisco, was a level 6 registry clerk. So about 1966, 67, somewhere in there, they gave an examination and then you could become a first-line foreman, which was not an easy job. There were no computers. All the knowledge was held in your head. All the zip codes. You had to learn every street in San Francisco, and usually you took one state and you learned all the streets in those states. It was a challenge to move up. They didn't want you to succeed because they challenge you don't have qualifications for this. For me at that time, it was an advantage because every place I went, I was learning something new. But what it does is it makes you have a resume that is excellent, and that's how I finally got the postmaster of Corte Madera. Then I go to Berkeley, which is a job, and then from Berkeley, I go to Washington, D.C., and from Washington, D.C., I go to Louisville and Indiana, and then to Cleveland. It was really very difficult. And writing was the outlet for me while I was in the post office going through all of these challenges. My first book was a book on computers, believe it or not. Computers were not even there. We didn't call them computers. They're called word processors. Then I got to Black Seeds in the Bluegrass, about tracing my family back to the 1700s. Else was a small black woman of African descent, born a slave sometime between 1767 and 1771 in the state of Virginia. Black Seeds in the Bluegrass was written because the post office was just giving me fits. And I just wrote. I took that and just turned it into something. I could not get it published, so I started my own publishing company. I just published it myself. That was because I was bored. Whenever I was bored or whenever something happened or any type of grief or anything like that, I go to writing. It's a way to let outlet for emotions. 33 years ago, it would have been unthinkable to serve cornbread and dim sum at the same meal. It's still a rare combination, not meant for everyone's consumption. Unique, like us. Not a marriage meant for everyone.
My love, there's only you in my life.
It was a great loss to me when he died suddenly. He died suddenly of a heart attack the day after his 70th birthday. And to tell you the truth, I just really, really lost it. I didn't realize how much it had affected me, not only mentally in grief, but also physically in grief. That was a very trying time. But our life, the 40 years, was just kind of magical.
You will always be my endless love.
Marin County has been very important in my life. Frank and I were able to join a community here that really took us in and really embraced us. 58 years in one church. So spirituality and that church has been very, 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 very influential in my life. Oh, look at there, my master's degree from San Francisco Theological Seminary. This is the first picture that David Johnson took of me. I was about 21 years old when I first came to San Francisco. David Johnson and his wife were the first friends I had in San Francisco. And we were actually friends for many years. And he lost his wife. I think the loss brought us together. In fact, I'm sure it did. He was 83 and I was 73. We got married in 2009 on his birthday. So he would not forget our anniversary.
I found you just in time before he came. Now you're here, and now I know just where I'm going. No more doubts or fear. I found
my way, for love came just in time. You found me just in time and changed my lonely life. That lovely.
My mother and my mother-in-law lived in this house with us, so I knew what getting older meant. I did not want my children to have to deal with my own getting older. When my husband David and I got married, I decided this house should go and stay, not only go, but stay in the family. And we moved to the Tamalpais, and it means a lot to me. I don't have to do anything. How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
And my friend I got.
There you go, my dear.
Thank you.
I'm loving life these days. How I'm loving life these days.
My children are Keta, she's my oldest daughter, and Candace is next. And then Tia is my adopted daughter from Thailand. And then I have Michael, who's my stepson, and Patricia, my stepdaughter. I have 8 grandchildren, and I have a great-granddaughter. And at Thanksgiving, we all get together in this wonderful house that has so many memories. Oh, my children have meant everything to me and still do mean everything to me. And you ask me, what advice do I have them all? To love and to be kind and to always remember that they're family, and no matter what they think might separate them, nothing but the love that they have for each other and for their own individual families should ever get in the way. Life is not perfect. There is a lesson in everything. Just trust in God.
Come fly with me, let's fly away. If you can use some exotic booze, there's a bar in far Bombay. Come on and fly with me, let's fly away. Come fly with me, let's float down to Peru. In Llama Land, there's a one-man band, and he'll toot his flute for you. Come on, fly with me, let's take off in the blue.
My name is Jackie Sue, and I'm 90 years old.
Okay, that's a wrap.